Hi friends, my name's Maddie and welcome to my YouTube channel. For today's video, I'm going to be doing the end of the year book tag. It is mid-December when I'm filming this, but I answered these questions like right before November ended. So I'm super excited to go ahead and get started. So the first question is, any books that you started this year that you need to finish? I have a few that I am still slowly working my way through. And the first one is A Curse for True Love. I have not really started this yet, but I'm going to start it, I think, and I just know I need to finish before the year ends. I am pretty hesitant about this one. I haven't heard the greatest things about this ending, so I'm kind of disappointed, but we'll see if I like it or not. I've just heard that it's kind of almost repetitive. The plot twist at the very end of the last book gets solved within the first third of this book, and just magical items are just oh, here's this magical item and now our problem is solved, and then a no problem arises and it's very just repetitive, like I said. So I'm very nervous to go into this one, but hopefully I will get to it and finish it by the end of the year. The other two books that I really need to finish at the end of the year are Manacled. I am about, I think I'm over halfway in this book. I think I'm over halfway, and this is a fan fiction of Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger. So it's been a ride, least to say. I'm in the middle of the flashback, so if you know, you know. And I have been loving it, but I'm also really scared. So we'll see how it goes, because it's going right now. And then I also really need to finish Red Rising. I need to finish Lightbringer. I am in the midst of it right now. I'm really enjoying it. I like the series in general. It's one of the 5-star series for me, but I am trying to finish that out before the year closes out. So the next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year with? I'm not a super big mood reader. I'm not a huge fan of Christmas books during Christmas, or I'm perfectly content reading Dark Academia in the middle of summer. That's just my vibe. I will be honest though, I do kind of enjoy fantasy books more so towards winter. I tend to pick them up a lot more, and I generally don't pick up romance a whole lot during this time. I don't know why, it's just always kind of been a cycle with me. So one of the first trilogies I picked up was the Night Angel trilogy. I finished the first book. I really enjoyed it. Haven't started the second book, but I have it on loan from the library right now, so I'm sure I will get into that within the next week or so. But I have really greatly enjoyed the series. It is about an assassin and just him training to kind of forget his old life, but things from his old life keep getting brought up, so it's just been very interesting, very dynamic relationships. The world building to me is the weakest of all of these books that I'm talking about, but I have just really greatly enjoyed it. The other trilogy I picked up is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is also about an assassin, and it was kind of funny. I read these two books back to back, and they're both about assassins and their training. I did prefer Night Angel more, and I think the world building in here is stronger, but the plot in here is weaker, so I prefer the Night Angel to this one. I am still going to continue on reading the series this month, but I have really liked some fantasy books this month. I have also picked up that's the next book. I've also picked up Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Again, another fantasy trilogy. I have greatly liked this one. This is a fantasy romance, so there is more romance in this one, and I have absolutely loved it. I have my thoughts on my November books that I read this month, so go check out that video if you want to hear my thoughts about that book. But I really have enjoyed this. I think the world building is going to just greatly expand in this novel, and I just cannot wait to see what the rest of this book is about. But I think it is just such a great transition, because who doesn't love a good fantasy romance novel? Another fantasy romance book that I picked up was Blood So Black. This is about Unseelie and Seelie Fae. It is on the darker side a little bit. It's kind of got some darker themes going on, and it's about this girl who is born to be a Seelie Fae, but ends up being that she's Unseelie, so she has to go to their court and kind of survive and learn to adapt until she can get back to the Seelie court with her family. So that was a really great read. But if you are looking more so for the autumnal read. I think Legends and Lattes is a fantastic book. This is about a orc named Vivian who gives up her barbarian lifestyle and mercenary lifestyle, I guess, and she opens up a coffee shop and a city where no one knows where coffee is. So it's really, really great. It's about just like all these friendships she makes and the connections she makes and the love they have for coffee, and it was just been so fantastic. It was such a great read. I read it over the summer. I kind of wish I read it during fall because it is so like cozy and warm and like very low stakes. I got a lot of high stakes books going on over here. So if you're looking for a more low stakes one, Legend of Lattes is a great one to check out. So the next question is there any new releases you're still waiting for? Yes and no. I think all of these books are out now as I'm filming. Like I said, I answered these questions early, so I just took forever to film. So I think they're out now, but I have Caution to the Wind by Gianna Darling, which I know is out now. We're just gonna pretend it's not out at this time. So I have that one that I'm really, really looking forward to. It is a MC motorcycle romance club. Gotta love it. I love Gianna Darling, so I'm so excited she is finally releasing it because it's been on my radar for the longest time since she announced it. Then I have Forged by Malice, which is the third book in the Beast of the Briar series. And then I have Gold, which is the fifth book in Raven Kennedy's Plated Prisoner series. I am so looking forward to it. I might do a reread, but I think I'm going to try to get to it by the end of the year. If not, it'll be one of the first books I pick up come January. Next question is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I think that's her name. Okay, yes. So I have Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I know next to nothing about this book. I know she wrote Icebreaker, and I liked the writing. I wasn't a fan of the characters in this book. So I've heard that other people who kind of had similar experiences with me with Icebreaker have really, really liked Wildfire because I feel like Hannah Grace is a good author, just I was not a fan of the plot, of the characters, yada yada. So I think this is about their camp counselors, I think, and I know they have daddy issues. That's all I've heard about this book, so gotta love it. And then I have Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I'm a huge diehard Lauren Asher fan, so I'm gonna probably get on my hands on a copy sooner than later. And Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I was holding out on this one for the longest time because I thought it was a series, but it's only a duology, and the next second book is out like end of this month. So I was like, oh, maybe I will pick it up. So I'm gonna try to get my hands on a copy at my library and see if I like it. Next question is there a book you think could shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I definitely have a few. I think Manacled is definitely gonna be up there. I know it's gonna have such a huge impact on me, especially because I'm only like halfway through the flashbacks right now. So I'm really nervous for what's gonna happen because I know it's not gonna be great. All my friends are like, Godspeed. So we'll see what happens. Another book that I think could really blow me away is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I know I wasn't a huge fan of the first book. I just don't think I really loved the plot, even though I did like the characters and such. I just don't think I connected very well with the story because it's more so like assassin training, and I don't like that kind of montage. So this kind of picks up where the last book left off, and the assassin is no longer an apprentice. So we will see if I enjoy this one. I think I will really like this one, honestly. This author has like 5 different series of books in the same realm, so I think it's just, I need to get through the first couple, but I think this one I will really like and connect to just because I'm not a fan of like assassin training plots. We'll see. Again, I think Wildfire could really blow me away. I think it could be one of my favorites. I'm not entirely sure. I have really, really liked Hannah Grace's writing. I just wasn't a fan of the characters in Icebreaker, like I said. So I think this one might be a really big hit with me. And then Night Angel, that trilogy by Brent Weeks, I think is going to blow me away. I really, really liked the first book a lot. I think it will slowly climb up to be one of my favorite series. I know I think it's the Black Prism series maybe is like an awesome series, so this is like the precursor. So I think eventually Brent Weeks is going to eventually go up my ladder a little bit. So the next question is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Yes and no. I don't really like to have goals when it comes to reading. I think it takes away the fun in reading for me. Usually, generally, I like to have, I know I just said I don't like to set goals when it comes to reading, but I do like to read at least 10 books a month. That puts me at around like 120 books per year, but I'm not like super on top of it, but just I like to see, I like to compare. I have a general idea. I know there's a ton of books that I want to reread because their releases are coming out, or they're just books that I want to get through. So like this year was a big rereading year for me. So one of the first books that I know I need to reread and get through is the Boys of Tommen series. I've read the first two. I have not read the third or fourth book, and I know the fifth book is coming out. So this is like something I know I need to get on, but I just don't know if I want to deal with the emotional trauma of that just yet. So I have put this one on hold. It's on my TBR, but I eventually will get through it because it's also really, really thick. But I really, really love this book. It was amazing. So it's gonna happen in 2024, just eventually. Another book that I really, really want to get into is the Wheel of Time series. I have a friend over here in Japan who really loves the series and speaks so highly of it, and like loves Brandon Sanderson because of this series, and I love Brandon Sanderson, so I feel like I will like the Wheel of Time. I don't know, the math is mathing in my head, but it's also a really long series. It's like 14-15 books, and that's like really scary. So I will try to get to it maybe once I'm done reading like the Farseer trilogy, maybe, or once I'm done reading Rebecca Hobbs series. But again, that's like another like 14 books, so we'll see. I would also really love to reread Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson after I just brought him up. Love good Brandon Sanderson. And so I read the first trilogy in 2021, I think, like 2021, and I haven't read it since, and I have not picked up the second trilogy. So I would like to reread the first trilogy because I finished it and was like, I need to go back and reread that. And that never happens to me, so I'm going to take the time and reread the original trilogy and then go into the second trilogy. And I'm not going to say I'm going to get into Way of Kings. I'm not doing that. I don't know why I would even think that. I also know I need to reread Crescent City 1 and 2. I might push for Crescent City this month. I might not. I probably won't. Pray for me. But most importantly, pray for Ruin Dannon. Thank you. Also, I would like to reread the Plated Prisoner series. Gold just came out. It's been a while since I've read this. Probably, I guess it would have been last year maybe. I read this when, I don't even know when I read this last. When does this even come out? Okay, it's 2020, so probably 2021, 2022 time frame I read this book. Because I remember Glow coming out and I read it like right away, like last year. So it's been a while. This is a dark King Midas retelling, but I know I need to reread it. So Gold is coming out in December, and Goldfinch, which is the last book in the series, is coming out in July of next year, I think. So eventually I might reread this one before I read Gold, but I will see. It is on my list for next year either way. And lastly, I have Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao, and this is one that again I need to reread because Heavenly Tyrant is coming out in like March or April, I think, of 2024, and I'm so excited. I read this one in the very beginning of the year. I was horrified that I had to wait an entire year and a half to read this book. I was devastated. I've heard like why this is the case, so I completely understand, but like I need my hands on the copy yesterday. I'm so excited to reread this one because I absolutely loved it. It reads like an anime. It is so freaking cool. Like, this is hands down one of the coolest YA books I've read in so long and probably ever. So I am so excited to eventually read Heavenly Tyrant. Alright, and that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked my video, please feel free to like and subscribe and hang out with me and talk to me more about books and book characters and all the fun things. And I hope you have a great day. Goodbye!